I wanted to talk about a movie that I saw recently. It goes by the name of Trap, and if you guys don't know the premise of this movie, it was created by M. Night Shyamalan, stars Josh Hartnett, but basically, in this story, this dad, right, he goes into a concert with his daughter. He's taking his daughter to a concert, and he's like, oh, yeah, and then he's like, wait, why is there so much security? He's asking people, why is there so much security out here? And basically, they're like, oh, we're not supposed to tell anyone, but there's actually a serial killer on the loose, and we know he's going to be here tonight. So we're gonna be trapping him in here, and we're hopefully gonna catch him. And that of course brought me, and I can guarantee a lot of other people, into this movie. I am known to be one of the biggest M. Night Shyamalan haters. I mean, my least favorite movie of all time is The Last Airbender. And I think a lot of people can agree with me that is a terrible movie. I mean, he made Knock at the Cabin last year, and that was a total failure. But with this movie, it's a little bit different with that movie. That movie, I wasn't even persuaded to go to this movie. Like, that movie did not even look good, but I was like, let's give it a shot. This movie, their marketing, their planning, their trailers, it all worked. I know M. Night Shyamalan makes terrible movies. I know that. But I go into the movie anyway because they sold me on the idea. And the fact is that them already revealing that he is the serial killer was kind of genius to me. I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, why do you think they did that? Like, he's known for his twist at the end of the movie. Why do you think he did that in the trailer?" Simply, if he didn't put that in the trailer, no one would be going to this movie as much as people did. The whole point of the attraction to this movie is the fact that we know that he's the serial killer. I mean, that's why I went into the movie. If I saw the trailer and I didn't know who the serial killer was, but this random dad is just going to a concert for his daughter, I would be like, okay, this seems okay. I probably won't go to this movie. But seeing that that this freaking 9-to-5 dad taking his daughter to a movie, and he seems like a good dad, and then him being the actual killer is really captivating, and actually it made me go to the theater and watch it opening night too, which is kind of crazy. Enough of the trailer. This is going to be your spoiler warning check mark, I guess. This is where I start getting into spoilers and stuff, and there's a couple big reasons why this movie failed so much for me. And the interesting thing is it's getting a lot of mixed reviews right now on social media right now, and you either love it or you hate it is what I'm seeing right now. And I'm kind of pointing to the side where I hate it a little bit more than I love it. So let's start off with the pros of this movie, because there are a lot. So obviously the main actor, Josh Hartnett, is really, really good. His acting is insane. He can just go from this really wholesome dad that cares about his daughter and stuff to this freaking serial killer who has no emotion. And the switch between the two is just super fast, and you don't even see it until it actually happens. And Jesus, that's just really good acting from him. The setting is really good in the first half, and we'll talk about the length of this movie in the first half and stuff in a little bit, but the setting of this movie is really cool, and I mean, like I said, is one of the biggest reasons why I came into this movie. Yeah, a freaking concert being setting for a thriller about a serial killer is freaking cool. You wouldn't expect it, which is nice. And the fact that it's a setting with so many people, so many NPCs, while the serial killer is trying to get out, is just so cool, and you don't really expect movies like that much anymore. And then this is going to go into parts of good and parts of bad. I think the music and sound production of this movie is really good. I think her name is Salika. I think it's Salika. That's M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, and she basically is the main pop artist for this movie. And her name is Lady Raven, and her music is outstanding. It's really good. But we're kind of transitioning into why this movie didn't hit so hard for me. The fact that you cast your daughter into the movie with these A-list actors who are really phenomenal, you can just really tell where the quality is and where the quality isn't. I get a lot of people saying, oh, as long as the music's good. I mean, I like the music, don't get me wrong. As long as the music's good though, like, it can get past me. But that's where I draw the line for that. You can have Salika make the soundtrack, make all the music for the movie, but you don't have to cast her as well. I think casting her was a big mistake for this movie because you can really tell where the acting just is not hitting. And when you have two actors like Josh Hartnett and Salika in a room together, you can really see the difference between the two. And that whole factor just really shuts it off for me completely. I love the music in this movie. I think it was phenomenal, but she herself doesn't have to be singing it. And then let's get to the biggest part of why this film just doesn't hit entirely with me. And it's going to be the actual plot itself. So when you have a movie based on this guy getting out of a concert and an auditorium, you expect the movie to be, the whole movie is just him trying to find different ways to get out, him failing and succeeding. But what this movie does is they push him so much to get out of this concert that he does within the first half of the movie. And that's where it really goes downhill with me. I think the first half of this movie is so good, and if that was just the movie itself, it would be probably a 9 out of 10 for me. The beginning sequence in this plot where he's just finding out everything, and he's creating different plans, and he's sabotaging different people, that part is amazing. I just wish he would have done that for this whole movie because, man, he missed a long shot on this one. Okay, something that I found really funny in this movie, and I was laughing with my buddy the entire time, and it's the fact that the main antagonist for this movie, I guess, the main leader of like the cops and all the SWAT teams, is this like random old lady that reminds Cooper of like his mom, and it is so funny to me how that like ties into the plot at all. It makes no sense. And I don't even remember what the lady's name was, but she was always called like Doctor or something, and it was just so stupid and so funny to see. Like, why was the doctor there? Why couldn't it be like a captain of a police station? I don't freaking know, but I just thought that was funny. And also a really random fact, but Kid Cudi is in this movie and he's cool. I like him. He's funny. He's a good addition to the movie. Let's go to after he breaks out. So this is clearly where it goes downhill from there. You know, you got him going back to his house with Lady Raven, and basically Lady Raven is trying to basically rat out Josh Hartnett's character as the killer. She goes with the whole family back to their house, and that's not weird at all. I don't know why there isn't security there as well. You know, there's a lot of plot holes that are tied up into the end. So you got her going back to the house and stuff, and you know, she's trying to get his phone so she can release the guy from the basement. And you know, this whole like plot at the house just feels really forced and weird. Like, she's in the bathroom with his phone at one point, like, and he's just like screaming and knocking on the door, and I'm just like, what is going on, dude? And you know, when you're a rising pop artist, I don't feel this is as realistic as it can be. You know, I'm not the type of person to look for such realism in movies. You know, I love horror movies and I love when people have supernatural powers, but this movie I feel like needs that realism to really hit the jackpot on it, because you had this rising artist and she's at a random fan's house, and you know, you would think there's more security than one guy just sitting in the limousine waiting for her to come back. Like, I just don't find that makes sense to this plot. You know, after all that, after her phone, and she starts going live streaming and stuff and talking about, yo, I need to know where this house is so y'all can go there. It sets me really out of the movie. I think that was just, the writing and the script on that was really iffy and just got me like, what is going on? The second half of this whole movie, I'm looking at my best friend to my left, and I'm just like, what is going on, dude? What have they done wrong? Anyways, I keep calling him Josh Hartnett's character. Let me look that up real quick, what his character name is. Okay, so the dad's name is Cooper, okay? So Cooper, in the second half of this movie, somehow gets out of like 5 different situations that are just unrealistic. There is a scene where he is in a limousine, and the cops are surrounding it, and somehow he opens the door, is disguised by a random hoodie, and just walks back into the crowd. Like, that part where I was just really like, what the hell, like, how does that even make sense? The plot itself really wasn't the focus of this movie. I feel like it was an attempt to bring M. Night Shyamalan's daughter to some popularity, which I love. To do that, M. Night Shyamalan, I don't care. But you don't have to cast the daughter itself, because the acting was just not there. Her music is there, and that's where she shines, but you forced her into this role that she wasn't very capable of. And that's just my opinion. I think the acting wasn't that well, but her music itself was really good. I think the soundtrack is pretty fire. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is how can you make this movie better, and more importantly, how can you make this movie an actual movie about the trap itself? So obviously my point of view is you have to stretch out this whole movie to them being in this concert. I want this whole movie to them being trapped in there, and I feel like this whole movie should have just him walking around to different areas of the concert. I feel like he was in some areas that were cool and stuff, but I feel like there could have been so much more areas that he could have explored, like the underground and stuff. And I feel like we didn't really see this in this movie. Most of the time, Cooper is just leaving his daughter. He's like, yo, I'll be right back. He does this like 5 times in the movie. He's like, yo, I'll be right back. I gotta go do something. And he's going and he's trying to figure out all the escape routes and stuff to do. But then he just goes to something, picks up something, goes back to his daughter, and it's just repeat. And with that kind of repetition, I was just really thrown off, and I was like, okay, is he actually going to do something with his daughter? Because I feel like his daughter could have had a more important role to this movie. She basically is just the catalyst for how this movie enacted. You have him taking her to a concert that she loves, but that's it for her character. Other than she was like Lady Raven's, like I don't even remember what it was called, but she was like put on stage and stuff, and she got backstage tickets and all that. But other than that, I feel like she could have played a more important role to the story. Obviously, I'm not saying that she should be an accomplice to freaking Cooper, but I think she could have left her spot maybe and then she finds Cooper like doing something shady. I feel like that conflict within the two would have been nice to see, but the only thing we saw was her just sitting at the concert enjoying the show, which I can't really blame, because you can see in this movie how much she cares about Lady Raven and how much she wanted to go to this concert. So it's not really much of a big nitpick, but it is something I'd like to see, and I think that the movie would be better if it had that. And what's funny is I've been seeing so many comments about people who are hating on this movie, and they're like, the only trap was the trap that I was in this theater watching this. And no, I wouldn't go that far, but I definitely understand where he's coming from. Those last 20 minutes, I'm just like, come on. And at the end, I did want him to not get arrested by the cops and not get sent to jail. I wanted him to get away. But with the last scene of the movie being him in an armored truck with nobody in the back doors, how there's always like cops in the back doors, like sitting with the guy that got arrested. And this guy has killed like dozens of people. He's literally called the Butcher or something. This guy has literally killed so many people, and you put him in the back seat of like an armored truck with nobody like watching him. Like, that's just another unrealistic thing that happened to me. But the more unrealistic thing is that he grabbed a piece of this is massive spoilers, so if you don't want to get spoiled for the movie, then don't watch it. But he grabs this piece of a bike when the cops are looking at him, and I don't know how he gets away with pulling a piece of the bike off, but he pulls it off. He pulls a piece that's almost like a lockpick, and he manages to uncuff himself from the armored truck, and that's how the movie ends. And when you have that sort of unrealistic plot device, it's such a turnoff for me, and I really wish this movie could have been great. It could have been great is all I want to say. But the biggest thing I learned today is that no matter how good the plot looks in the trailer, you don't have to see it if it's M. Night Shyamalan. I literally talked to my friend before the movie started. I said, am I really about to be impressed by an M. Night Shyamalan movie? My expectations went to what it was usually, and I'm always disappointed by his movies. But I just wanted to talk about my opinion on Trap, the movie Trap, and I'm gonna give it let's give it a 4 out of 10, just because the start of the movie is so strong, but it really goes downhill from there. If you guys enjoyed this little criticism of this movie that came out, and if you guys want to see more, just leave a comment, leave a like. I've seen every movie in the theaters. I promise you, I've seen every movie this year. So if you want to see any specific reviews, just leave it down in the comments and I'll get to it. So thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you in a bit.